Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Anchor, Spotify, wherever, guys. At this point, I'm spreading like wildfire over here, guys, so you can find me wherever Dayspring Discussions can be found. Be sure to like, rate, review, whatever you got to do. Then head on over to the Facebook group and Twitter account. Join the discussion, guys. Don't forget, if you have a topic or question for me, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. I hope you all are enjoying this Monday evening here, getting it started right. I myself, before we do anything, I got a little thing I got to do. So St. Patrick's Day is next week, and I'm a big St. Patrick's Day guy. I always have been. People know me for this. And last night, I put out on Facebook that I wanted some suggestions for a new Irish whiskey because I like to try, new Irish whiskeys around St. Patrick's Day, and I got a couple recommendations, and I did a little research too. And after standing there for about maybe 20 minutes, going back and forth at the liquor store, Specs, I settled on a highly recommended bottle of Irish whiskey that I believe is way too much out of my price range for what I paid for it. Needless to say, again, it was a good bottle of whiskey, allegedly, and I have it right here in front of me. I got home, I was like a kid, on Christmas morning. I unwrapped my present, and now I'd got to open it to play with it. I have it in front of me. I haven't tasted it yet, so I wanted this to be kind of a live thing going on here. This whiskey here, I'm going to taste it for the first time. It's the most I've ever spent on any bottle of whiskey, and I'm going to see what expensive whiskey tastes like, award-winning whiskey tastes like. So here we go. I got to say, that's pretty smooth. That's pretty smooth stuff. Yeah, I can get into that. Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue as we go on here, just how great it is. Is it worth the money? But overall, first couple of sips, I like it. And we'll see where it goes from here. But this is why I don't like to buy expensive things like this, because then I grow a taste for it. I'm a cheap guy. I just am, that's what it is. So if I get a taste of nice things, I'll want more nice things, which is why I don't try nice things. You get where I'm going with this? So, any event, this is pretty delicious. Hold on. Yeah, I might be in trouble. All right. Okay. Let's move on, guys, because I got a couple of things to talk about. First, I want to start off a little bit of a sorrow note. Actor Max von Sydow has died at the age of 90. Now, best known for roles in The Seventh Seal, The Exorcist, and 1980's Flash Gordon, the actor recently popped up in a couple of things such as Star Wars The Force Awakens and Game of Thrones. Like I said, the actor was 90, lived a full life. This legend will be missed. Definitely a sci-fi God in those terms, not only because of Star Wars and Game of Thrones, but also, again, going back to The Exorcist and Flash Gordon. He was Ming the Merciless. Okay, Ming. Yes, just a great role, and gosh, I can just hear the Queen song playing in my head right now. But it's a tragic that we lost such a great actor, someone, but he's left his mark, and like I said, 90 years old, he lived, and I'm pretty sure he lived way fuller life than most of us ever will, so I got to give it to him for that. So my deepest condolences to his friends and family and those who knew him. So, all right, guys, so main topic we're talking about today. Earlier, a new Black Widow trailer dropped, along with a poster, of course, and obviously I was a little excited about it, so I just kind of run down it, break it through, and share my thoughts on this film and this trailer. So, this is the next Marvel movie, guys. Endgame's done. It's now a new era for Marvel Studios, okay? And where they're going from here, you had Spider-Man Far From Home that continued after Endgame. Now you have Black Widow. We got Eternals coming up as well. Doctor Strange 2. Other things on the horizon. This movie, I think, has pros and cons to it. But before I get to the actual movie, I want to talk about the trailer. The trailer itself was good. You know, it's kind of giving us what I think we need when it comes to the Marvel Universe right now, or Marvel Cinematic Universe, is a smaller story. We kept getting bigger and bigger with the Avengers movies till we got to Endgame. Now we have to reset, or they have to reset, in my eyes, and build back up. They've got the credibility of the audience now to where people will come and see what the Marvel Studios puts out. But they gotta give us something more. They gotta grab onto us again. And this familiar character, Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, is something I think people can rally around, much like Spider-Man in Far From Home post-Endgame. It's a character that we know, and it's a character that I think people really like and will want to see further adventures about her, especially since she does have a mysterious past. This trailer, again, gave us that small scope as far as a personal mission for Natasha. What looks like she's doing, she's gone back home to Russia, settled up with her family, her alleged sister, and they're taking on Taskmaster because he's still controlling girls, training young girls in the Red Room, much like how Natasha was, and she's going to make it stop. She's going to make the tradition of destruction and death stop, and we'll see if she's successful or not, along with her fellow cohorts. Okay, guys, I'm on my third or fourth sip right now. It's getting pretty good, actually. So, I got it chilled on ice, but the whiskey, it's pretty good. So, yeah, I'm definitely in trouble. I'm definitely in trouble. I can't believe I'm going to spend much money again. But anyway, all right, getting back to Black Widow. Now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has spent 11 years building up to this moment, going all the way back to Iron Man 2008. You go all the way to Endgame, most successful film of all time. And again, it's a restart or reboot or whatever you want to call it for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And with Black Widow, I think you have these pros and cons for and against it. So I'm going to start off with the cons because I like to end on a good note. I'm a guy whose the glass is half full, which is kind of what my glass is getting to right now. But anyway, okay, cons. This is a character that we most recently saw die. And this is a film that's set before that, obviously. It's set between Civil War and Infinity War. Now, in that time frame, of course, if you remember back in Civil War, Natasha reluctantly sided with Tony. And in the end, she let Cap and Bucky escape, stopping Black Panther. And, from there, she turned against the state, against General Ross, and she kind of went on the run. And then next time we see her, she's with Cap and Sam, and they're, helping Vision and Wanda take down Thanos' goons. So why do we want to see this character when we already know what her fate is? Filling in the gaps would be a good thing to do, of course. I know, especially going back to, Avengers Age of Ultron, when you get the visions of her in her training, when you get her final graduation of the Red Room, that's some heavy stuff, for a film that's really supposed to be family-oriented. It was very interesting they put that in there, but also very deep. And just, ever since then, I think we've all wanted to know more about the character. But, again, why do we want to see more about a character, when we already know where her story ends, I guess you would say. Number two, kind of a con against it, I believe, is that it is a small film, which is a pro as well, which I'll talk about. But a con about this is a smaller film, and how does it fit in the larger cinematic universe? Is the question. Because if it's a self-contained film, that's a pro, but it's also a con, because one of the things about the Marvel films that I think the general audience loves is that they're all connected. I mean, I know that's partially what I love about it, is that when you're watching, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and you might not be a big Ant-Man fan, but in some way this is going to pay off later on down the road in, say, Avengers Endgame, perhaps, where you're not a big fan of the character, but it's part of the larger world, so you go and you watch the movie anyway, just so you have all the information you need. Where's this going to pay off to? This is again, a prequel, so how is this going to pay off in later Marvel films to come? It might enrich the story of what we've already had. When we see Natasha pick up in Infinity War, I can see, where she's been, what she's just done. I can see it, enriching that moment maybe a little more. But, again, we're past that, I think, by the audience standards, and we want to know how this film is going to set into Phase 4 and beyond. And given the fact that, again, this character is dead and presumably going to stay dead, not sure how exactly it will attract the big audiences who look forward to the Marvel movies because of the connectivity of it all. And my final con for this is going to be actually the director, Kate Shortland. I don't know who she is. So because I don't know who that is, I'm going to put it as a con. I'm looking at her IMDb page. I have seen nothing that she's done. So it worries me a little bit. But then again, every director was someone I didn't know until, they did something I saw and something that I really liked. So I can't say I hold that against her. And of course, Marvel is all about getting the right people, the right directors, the right creative team in there, and they haven't failed yet. So I got to give them at least a little bit of credit to Kevin Feige and his crew. In Kevin Feige we trust. So I got to give him credit. But again, a fresh director that I have no idea what she's done. I haven't seen anything. She hasn't handled a big budget blockbuster film. So it can be a little more challenging. And I just, it worries me a little bit, but not a lot, given the fact that it is still Marvel. It is still Kevin Feige. It's just a little uneasy in my eyes. Okay, let's go with the pros now. Hold on. Oh, man. As it gets cooler, it gets so much better. Oh, my God, yes. Okay. Yep. Okay, that's good stuff. All right, anyway, pros of Black Widow. Okay, so number one, let's get it the obvious side of the way. It's a Marvel studio film, okay? And at this point, Kevin Feige and everyone over at Marvel has earned our trust. They've earned our trust of knowing, hey, this is the kind of quality that a Marvel studio film is. You may not love all of them. I don't love all of them. There's a couple I don't even like, but you're going to get at least a decent film or something for the most part that you will enjoy. And again, hopefully factoring into the connectivity, making a deeper character connection for later on, or even stuff in the past. Because one thing I love about, say, the Star Wars expanding universe, as far as comics and books, not necessarily the movies, I don't want to get into the movies, but, you go back and you see things that happen, in the comics or books or even the TV shows like Clone Wars and Rebels, and then you go back and rewatch it. Like, oh, here's a prime example: Rogue One. Obviously, Rogue One. The end of it is where the original Star Wars movie begins. So then you watch the original Star Wars film and you see how Leia got the Death Star plans, what happened to get the Death Star plans, all the people who died to get the Death Star plans. It deepens the whole emotional story for you. And again, this is one of those movies that I think can do that. And the guys over at Marvel, if it's a story they think is worth spending hundreds of millions of dollars on to tell, well, who am I to judge? All right, number two, cast. Okay, let's take a minute here. Scarlett Johansson. Love Scarlett Johansson. Great actress, beautiful actress. Number one of my top 5 celebrities I'm allowed to for several years now, actually. According to my wife, she's, not that hot, though. But I'm getting in trouble for that. But luckily, she doesn't listen to this show, so I won't get in trouble for that. Number 2, Florence Pugh. who is going to be, looks like kind of the second lead in this, is playing her quote unquote sister. Florence Pugh is an actress who, within the last year or so, I have really started to take notice of her. The first thing, of course, was the one that came out last year, Fighting with My Family. She did a great job with that film, and I really liked it. Then she did Midsummer, which, was a little weird film, but that's something as well. And then Little Women got her a Best Actress nomination, okay? Within the last year, this girl's career is taking off, and I can't say I blame him. I mean, from what I've seen of her, she's got some great talent. And I would love, in my eyes, this is just me thinking out loud here, if, she takes over the Black Widow role for Marvel movies. I mean, we know, or at least I know, that Black Widow isn't strictly just Natasha. Black Widow is a role. It's a position. It's a name given, kind of like the dreaded Pirate Roberts. Okay, every generation has one. If you go back and watch the Agent Carter series, okay, you go back to Agent Carter in the 1940s fighting Black Widow. Okay, so just because Natasha dies doesn't mean Black Widow dies. And I could definitely see the character, Florence Pugh's character, taking on the mantle, and I think she's a good enough actress to where, she could be great in these films. I'm not saying I think that's what's going to happen, but I can definitely see it as a possibility, and I would be totally okay with that. Okay? Rachel Weisz as playing their kind of mother character. Again, I don't know if there's any blood relation going on here, but Rachel Weisz, my wife, loves Rachel Weisz. She thinks she's hotter than Scarlett Johansson, but that's another time, another tale for another time. Won't get into that. Rachel Weisz, great actress. David Harbour, great. My number one pick for Ben Grimm in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but again, another podcast or another episode for another time. William Hurt coming back as General Ross. That should be interesting. If you read the Black Widow prequel comic that came out a month or so ago, I think there's 2 issues of it. Usually with those Marvel prequel comics for the movies, they really just recap the previous movie, which is kind of stupid. And they kind of did that with recapping Civil War and other things she's done. But at the end of it, you see that Ross, given after the events of Civil War, is going after Natasha. He sees her as probably the easiest target to catch out of all of them. How wrong he is. But we'll see him in that. And then the other actor, Ray Winstone, I guess, an actor who I don't know if a lot of you know, probably most recognizable from The Departed. He was Jack Nicholson's second, I guess you would call him. Been a lot of good things, really good actor. He's listed on IMDb, but there's no role set for him. So, mysterious role much? We'll see. Spoiler things are afoot, and that's okay, but overall, great, list. Great list of thespians. Really help round out this film. Robert Downey Jr. listed on IMDb as rumored. So here's the thing. This movie sets place between Civil War and Infinity War. Well, that means you don't just have Robert Downey Jr. possibly going to be in it. You could possibly have Chris Evans in it as Captain America. You could have Anthony Mackie as Falcon even, While I would love to see the story in between Infinity War and Endgame, there's a lot you can do between Civil War and Infinity War, definitely. But a lot of characters that, are gone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that you could see come back. And I could definitely see that happening. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But, yes, another pro of this film, the action looks dope. Okay, I mean, obviously the whole Sky thing we saw with her and Taskmaster fighting. Now, of course, to be fair, I'm not a big Taskmaster guy. I don't know a lot about him. I don't even know a lot about Black Widow, just to be honest. But, that whole scene looks like it's going to be something, I can only imagine the hours and hours of green screening it took on wires to accomplish that scene. But either way, it looks like it's going to be something. And again, the physical action of this film and what it's going to require of Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh and maybe even Rachel Weisz, it looks like it's going to be good. And again, like I said before, my final pro is that it's a smaller, contained film, We've gone big, 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 bigger, 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 bigger with everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to Endgame. We need to, again, cool it down, take it down a level. This whole film from the trailer looks like it's a personal mission for Natasha. Yes, Taskmaster is a villain. He's training young girls to do evil things in the world, but, the universe isn't going to explode, or half of life in existence isn't going to die if she fails. It's just a personal mission for her to save these girls, really, that are probably going to end up hunting her down. I mean, you see in the trailer there, she's fighting, other people from the Red Room. But again, it's a smaller contained film, which those can be really good if handled correctly. Again, it's up to the director and the writer to do that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm not super excited. I mean, I probably will go see this opening night. I can't guarantee it, but definitely I'm going to go see it opening weekend. But either way, Black Widow trailer, if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Come back to me. Let me know what you think. And I'll be here finishing my whiskey. All right, guys, time for you to fire back. Of course, let me know what you think about the trailer or, of course, Black Widow, the film in general. Are you excited for it? What do you think, what do you want it to be? What do you, think the Marvel Studio or Marvel Cinematic Universe should go from here? Do you feel like it's a story that we shouldn't get because it's just, retreading on a character that's already gone and won't mean anything for the future? I want to know your thoughts. Fireback, Facebook group, Twitter account, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. There you go. It's starting to get to me. Let me know what you think, guys. That's going to be it for me for now. Go out, enjoy your evening, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives. And until next time, may the force be with us all.